Hi. Today I'm doing my video over our story, which was Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's A Study in Scarlet, which is part of his Sherlock Holmes series. Um, I'm a big fan of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle just in general. I love the Sherlock story, even though he is known for, quoting that he hates it and really didn't like it. Um, But I think he made a very unique character, especially for the time. When you think of guys in like the 1800s, late 1800s, you think of very chivalrous people. They were supposed to be, ladies' men and just high and confident and just, which, just nice and good people, unless you were poor and, or crazy. So, you have Sherlock Holmes, who is rude and disrespectful and really just has no interest in people. He just is interested in knowledge and solving things and knowing, which is such a weird, you know, people wanted to know things, but he took it to a whole new level of almost an obsession with knowing things. But you have, and he's very confident in what he knows, and which is why I enjoyed his character, and I enjoyed how Watson was a foil to him. You have Watson who, he comes in and he's a lot meeker. He's, not necessarily meek, but compared to Holmes he is. And he's practical, and he was in the military, he's got a very quiet sense. Um, and then you have Holmes, who is adventurous and out there, and it's like, let's go do this stuff. And sometimes Watson is just like, no, I don't. But Holmes, they're a duo, and Watson. I like a quote I found. Watson comes along and he inspires Holmes in a way that Holmes had never really been inspired. So I really enjoy the duo. I enjoy the anti-hero and anti-villain aspect that Doyle brings in. An anti-hero is, someone who works for the good side in the story, but doesn't have a hero's personality. You think of um, like House in House, the show, who was based on Sherlock Holmes. He's rude and doesn't like anybody, but he still works for the greater good, and this is what, Sherlock is written as. He's a loner, he doesn't seem to like people, and, it's like, what do you know that he's not doing that for the greater good. He's working for the good side for selfish intentions, which is generally what an anti-hero is. Then you have Jefferson Hope, who's, in my consideration, an anti-villain, because, he is doing evil, he's killing people, but he has this motive that, his lover and father were harmed, and he's like, okay, you know what? Well, that's not okay. I need to get revenge. Not even God, not the justice system, they can't help me. I have to get this done, and I have to avenge them because that's what needs to be done, because Lucy was so wonderful and da da da. And so you have that almost sympathy for him, like, dude, I'm sorry, it's not good, you know. But it's also not good to murder people. So it's like you're at a standstill with having anti-heroes and anti-villains. It's almost like you sympathize with an anti-villain, you sympathize with them, but they're still doing bad, and then you have an anti-hero who is does good but has a crappy personality, or not crappy but rude and disrespectful all the times. And I kind of see that as a sort of a newer concept in like that kind of progressive era type work, which I think an anti-hero and an anti-villain are good for, like, a mystery story, or even you can go so far as to call this a gothic story because of the theme of death and revenge. And it makes the story more complicated. And I feel like, if you have gothic elements and stuff, that you should have a more complicated group of characters. I feel like they should reflect a more complicated story, because usually gothic stories are a little crazier and a little bit deeper. But that's it. I really enjoyed reading the story. I enjoy Sherlock Holmes. I love anti-heroes and anti-villains, so that's it.